All right, guys, buckle up. If you're driving, secure that seatbelt. Make sure you're focused on the road. If you're sitting at home, make sure you're sitting in a proper upright position. Buckle up, guys. It's a big episode. We're talking 8. That's 8 big-time fantasy football running backs that suck. Big names, guys. This is big names. I'm venting today. I'm releasing today. I've got the anxiety built up with these running backs, and I'm going to unleash it in this episode. So we're talking about 8 big-name running backs that suck. We're going to rip into them here in this episode. So again, if you aren't subscribed, if you guys want the truth, this is the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe, okay? Cannot emphasize that enough, guys, because there's so much bad advice being given out in the fantasy football industry. This is the truth, guys. So make sure you guys subscribe, buckle up. It's going to be a great episode. I'm going to be really ripping into these running backs today because why? Because they suck, all right? So if you guys are new to the channel, you know that this channel is promoted by and sponsored by, I should say, manscaped.com. So Go there right now, manscaped.com. They sell more than the amazing Lawnmower 4.0. They sell body wash. They sell deodorant. They sell shampoo. They sell nose hair clippers. They sell, every toenail clippers, everything you guys need to stay groomed, stay fresh. And here's the thing. You use code SHOWERLINE20, save yourself 20% on some amazing products. In my hand, I've got the Lawnmower 4.0. Amazing, guys. Skin-safe technology, rechargeable wireless charging, LED spotlight, waterproof, travel lock. Go treat yourself, manscaped.com. So many features, guys. Stay groomed, stay fresh. Manscaped.com, SHOWERLINE20 is what you want to use. All right, let's rip into these running backs right now. All right, guys, welcome to the show. We are ripping into big-name running backs, telling you they suck and why they suck. Deep dive here for you guys. If you have not gotten 16 rounds, get it below. Use code TUBE20. That's TUB20. Save yourself 20%, guys. Smash your leagues, guys. Your league mates will be light years behind you, and you'll be up here, guys. Get 16 rounds. Use code TUBE20 and head on over to thefantasyfootballaccounts.com if you're in the car and secure the solution to secure the championship, all right? And secondly, as I said at the beginning of the show, manscaped.com, SHOWERLINE20. Save yourself 20% on everything on their site, including these amazing Boxers 2.0. I wear them. They're super comfortable, all right? Go manscaped.com, SHOWERLINE20. Go treat yourself. And guys, as you notice here, if you guys are watching on video, I'm wearing my Fantasy Frontlines General t-shirt. You can see the patch here, right here. This is the new shirt. This is the new community. That's patreon.com/FFcounselor. Join the front lines, whether you want to be a 5-star general, a captain, or private. This is the only place to get direct access to me and join the most passionate fantasy football community for exclusive fantasy football podcasts, lives, and direct access. That's patreon.com/FFcounselor. All right, let's dive into it. Who sucks at the running back position? I got some big names here. I'm going to explain why they suck. I'm not just going to say, hey, guys, this person sucks. Don't draft them. There's reasoning behind that. So the first running back here, and again, drop a comment below. Let me know if you agree, and let me know which running backs you suck. Did anyone make the list that shouldn't have made the list, or should I have added somebody to the list? And believe me, there's way more. Disclaimer here, there's way more running backs that suck. Like Kenneth Gainwell, right? Chuba Hubbard did nothing so far, right? Zach Moss, Rex Burkhead, Latavius Murray, Kenyon Drake, Justin Jackson, Ronald Jones. There's a ton of guys that suck, but these are the bigger names, relatively higher ADP guys, okay? Again, I can go into Samaje Perine, Jordan Howard, Damian Williams, DJ Dallas, and on and on and on and on. All these guys suck. And that's why when we're talking fantasy football draft strategy, that's why I go robust RB early, because I don't want running backs that suck. That's a whole key here, guys. That's why I go robust RB. So first running back here is Dalvin Cook. Now, Dalvin Cook is sitting 4th on the consensus rankings. You're saying, well, Joe, how does he suck? Guys, it's very, very simple. Last year, he was a top 2, top 3 running back. Guess where he finished last year in PPR? Let me tell you guys, because if you don't know, now you know. The guys finished 16th last year amongst running backs. That's 13 games played, 249 attempts, 1,159 yards, and 6 touchdowns on the ground. Now, he had zero receiving touchdowns last year. This is a guy that is built on his receiving. That's what he's known for. He's a pass-catching running back. Now, this is a guy that's guaranteed to miss games throughout your season, okay? That's the kicker here. So you're investing, not you, if you have a line mentality, but the Sheepses are telling you to invest a top 4 pick, top 5 pick, top 6 pick. I had of Najee Harris, I had of Derrick Henry on a guy that's guaranteed to miss. 100% he's going to miss 3 games. Why do I know that? Because he's done it all throughout a season. So why would I invest in a guy that I know is going to miss a 3-game window? I've talked about this in my other videos. It's called Fantasy Football Roulette. Okay, do I want to play Fantasy Football Roulette? And I want to remind you, this guy missed your Fantasy Football Championship 2 years ago. Okay, even though he was having a great year, he missed your Fantasy Football Championship. What kind of running back do you want, that's going to miss 3 games, 4 games out of the season minimum? This guy's been paid. He's been incentivized. He's got nothing to play for. What's he going to play for? He's going to go break his legs just to play for what? He's already been paid. Overpaid, that is. So Dalvin Cook, to me, is a guy that sucks because I know he's going to miss time. And is he talented? Yes. But for fantasy, he's not a good player for fantasy. If you got to draft a guy, and I said this before, if you got to draft a guy in the top 5 pick and say, hey, I'm drafting this guy knowing he gets hurt and I got to get his backup, don't draft that guy. Okay? Do not do it. All right? So Dalvin Cook, you, sir, suck. Second guy here, guys, big time suck. Like, trash player. Like, the fact that this guy even got re-signed by the Broncos blows my mind. Finished last year 20th amongst, running backs, 203 attempts, 918 yards, and 8 touchdowns, okay? This guy sucks so bad that he can't get a starting job. He lost his starting job to Eckler, and Eckler sucks too. But Eckler's not included in this list. I should have included him, but wait till next year. Trust me, you guys are going to see. There's too many players that suck that I had to push Eckler out. Now, if you look at Melvin Gordon's career, he's going into his 8th season. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. 8 seasons. Okay, guess how many out of those 8 seasons he's rushed over 1,000 yards? Now, if you're a starting running back, which he was with the Chargers in 2015, 2016, 2017, you're supposed to, if you're a starter, you should rush over 1,000 yards, okay? This guy, okay, was a first-round pick, 15th overall in 2015. Guess how many rushing seasons he's got over 1,000 yards rushing on the ground? I'm going to tell you, one, and that was in 2017 at 1,105 yards. Since then, he has not rushed over 1,000 yards on the ground. The fact that the Broncos signed him and they're not going to, they should run Javonte Wild. The fact that they're even thinking of running Gordon as a split committee is ludicrous because this is the same situation with Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor. We knew Marlon Mack was a trash player. I knew it. The Colts didn't know it for a while, and then Jonathan Taylor finally got to run. He ran wild. Similar situation. If you let Javonte Williams get 400 carries, he's a top 1 running back. Never mind. He's got that talent ability. And if the Broncos want to win, they're going to run their best running back. Not a guy that's trash like Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon sucks. I would never touch him in fantasy. I don't think he's great in reality either. He sucks, okay? Trash. And he's just taken away. He's just a pest. And again, he doesn't suck to the point where he's completely benched, but he sucks to the point where he's enough to be a pest. Does that make sense? So he's good enough to be a pest. Like that's what's so annoying, right? Like he doesn't suck like Devontae Booker, Peyton Barber sucks. Like he sucks, but not as much as like those guys, but enough to certainly be benched at this point. So again, he's going to be a pest. It bothers me. He sucks. He's my number 2. Again, no particular order here. Just giving you 8 guys that suck at running back position. All right, the other guy that's, man, I don't like these guys. Again, it's just, they're taking up ADP spot, which is good, right? If people want to invest, a 4th overall pick on Cook, great. That's a waste of a pick. I like that. Take them. And that's the only reason I like these guys. But for fantasy, I'm not drafting. I'm trying to prevent catastrophic failure. Again, if you guys are forgetting, Dalvin Cook busted last year, finished 16th, well below his ADP, which is top 2 last year, okay? So if you guys have and again, the consensus have certain players they're biased on. If you want to draft a player that busted last year, that's up to you and is guaranteed to get hurt. That's up to you. Number 3 here, this guy, isn't as high on the ADP, but still people want to draft this guy. And you're talking about guys where you go 0 RB, you wait on running back and then they grab filers here, like these guys in the 5th, 6th round. And that's the problem, guys. You don't want to waste picks on guys that suck. Okay. So this guy sitting 32nd on the Sheepsis rankings, guys. The guy I'm talking about is Devin Singletary, okay? Let's talk about Devin Singletary. finishing 18th last year, guys, amongst running backs. And this guy was slated to be the starter on the offense. Finishing 18th, guys, that is pathetic. Now, when you look at him statistically, and I just like to take a look at a history of when they started, going into his 4th season. You know, again, last year had the opportunity to be the starter. He had Zach Moss there, who sucks as well, which we did not include in this video, but should have. 870 yards on the ground last year, 4.6 yards per carry. You're saying not bad, 7 touchdowns. But again, 157 yards, 157 points in standard, and PPR 197. Again, if they believed him, if he was good, which he's not, you know, the Buffalo Bills would not have drafted James Cook. Now, everyone's like asking about James Cook. That's a whole other video. Here's the deal with James Cook. I like the talent. I think he could be the starter, but he's got Moss there. He's got Singletary, again, that are going to be pests, and Josh Allen likes to run the ball a lot. So you're looking at a situation where I'm probably fading this entire RB committee. It's a disaster. I don't think the volume will be there for James Cook to crush it. But going back to Devin Singletary, what a trash player. Had the opportunity to really be a starter, just could not ever get it going. Devin Singletary absolutely sucks, and that's why they brought in James Cook and drafted him. Again, I don't believe in Singletary, but yet people will draft him, you know, mid-rounds. Why? Because they just want a running back, and they think that that's the guy. That's not how you guys win. Now, if you guys want to win, get 16-round draft solution, because I tell you, you know, who to draft later that's got that RB1 upside. If I'm drafting a running back later, it's going to be like a Dameon Pierce, a guy that can and potentially will take over that starting position. I wouldn't invest on a guy that I know is washed up and will never, washed up in the 3rd, 4th year. I know Devin Singletary, because we know he'll never eclipse and be a top guy, okay? So Singletary, absolute trash. He sucks, all right? Coming in number 3 here, absolute trash. Led the league last year from amongst running backs in fumbles. And everybody was so hyped about him. I don't like the team he's on the Commanders or football team or whatever they're called now. Antonio Gibson. This guy sucks. I mean, if you look at a guy that, you know, had this promise, he was a 3rd-round pick going into his 3rd season. He had 1,000 yards on the ground last year. He had 7 touchdowns. You know, I know what you're saying. You're saying, Joe, that's not bad. You look at his PPR numbers, 229, not bad. But he had 6 fumbles, and they brought in Brian Robinson. They drafted Brian Robinson. Why? Because they don't believe in Gibson. And really, Gibson is literally 1 fumble away from losing his job. And another thing, I had an influencer on from the Commanders in my Fantasy Football Impact series here, where I did a bunch of videos bringing on beat writers. And I was talking to him, and he's like, man, Brian Robinson was the complete opposite of Antonio Gibson. This guy rarely ever fumbled in college. And the Commanders purposely picked Robinson as a guy that they can trust in case Gibson does fumble. So, you know, that's the thing. They purposely drafted Robinson knowing Gibson's a fumbler, right? Again, 6 fumbles last year. Like, hang on to the ball, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So, obviously, Gibson sucks. I mean, last year still finished 10 amongst running backs in points, but he's in a major committee. I don't trust him. I don't like his fumbling. Again, I just don't think he's that great of a running back. And, again, he sucks, okay? I don't like the offense. I don't like anything about the situation. I'm staying away committee. And then McKissick, right? You look at his numbers. I'm going to pull up his numbers here. This is a guy that was supposed to be gone. I think Buffalo was looking at him or something like that, if I can remember, in the offseason. And J.D. McKissick was supposed to be gone. He hoarded away a couple rushing touchdowns last year. I remember. I think it was like, let me go back and figure out what week this was. It was early in the season. Yeah, it was week 2. Everybody drafted Antonio Gibson. Everyone's like, yeah, I love Antonio Gibson. And week 2, in comes McKissick and hoards a rushing touchdowns away from Antonio Gibson. Everybody was losing it, except for who? 16 rounders who never drafted him, and myself, because I didn't draft him either, because I wouldn't have recommended him. So, yeah, Antonio Gibson was a big overall letdown because so many people had like high expectations in him, and it just never panned out, guys. So, yeah, I do not trust him at all. So I'm completely staying away from him, okay? So let's go on to another guy here. This is another guy, man, that completely sucked. When I say completely sucked, absolutely sucked, okay? And again, these guys, they're disgusting to me, but I'm going to rip into them because I dislike them completely for fantasy. Now, some people say, well, Joe, you hate players. I just hate them for fantasy because they're getting in the way of production from my potential guys, my potential starters. So this guy was a 1st-round pick, 32nd overall at the end of the 1st round. The mainstream consensus were losing it. They were saying draft him in the 1st round. I was like, okay, I'm going to list him here as an option in 60 rounds, but there's a warning. The volume won't be there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire busted in his 1st year. I said, hey, everybody was talking about it. Even my 16 round was like, hey, why don't you include Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I'm like, okay, I'm going to include Clyde Edwards-Helaire in 60 rounds, but there's a warning. I'm staying away from him, okay? Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a top running back on all consensus rankings, drafting in the first round in his rookie year. Busted, played 13 games, played 10 games last year. The guy can't stay healthy. The guy sucks, okay? This guy would get a first-round pick, and they're like, oh, he's a bowling ball. He's amazing. He's the best. Sucks. Absolutely sucks, okay? 803 yards in his first year, 517 in his second year, combining for 8 touchdowns over 2 years. Trash. Trash player. Isaiah Pacheco getting a lot of hype in training camp. They brought him in and drafted him. So the Chiefs, I don't trust them. I don't think the volume will be there. The only guys you can really kind of trust from the Chiefs is really Travis Kelce, Mahomes. Everyone else is literally a crapshoot, from Juju to Mecole Hardman to Sky Moore as a late round dart throw. I don't trust this offense. Now you're looking at Isaiah Pacheco, another guy you can stash later that's going to be a dart throw. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the guy I'm talking about here. Sucks, yet still he's sitting 26th on the Chiefs' rankings. Where in 16 rounds, I will just tell you to completely fade him. That's the difference, right? So if you get draft kits, they're like, okay, this guy's ranked 26th. In 16 rounds, I'll tell you, just avoid this guy. Do not draft him. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire, big time bust. Do not draft. Sorry, sitting 29th on the Chiefs. I apologize. I stand corrected, 29th. Okay. The next guy is sitting 26th. The guy I'm talking about is Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds, like, this is the thing, right? Everybody's like, draft Chase Edmonds. I got to draft Chase Edmonds. This is the guy. For years, it was this story of like, I got to draft Chase Edmonds. And the guy, years to wow us, guys. And guess what? We're not wowed. The guy absolutely sucks. So when you're looking at a guy like Chase Edmonds, I'm going to tell you guys to steer clear away from him, okay? He's an absolute trash player. I'm going to pull up his numbers here. Going into his 5th season, this guy, he's only peaked at 592, guys. 592 rushing yards. He's in a disaster of a committee this year, okay? When I say disaster, I mean disaster. Now, Miami, I would never trust anybody from Miami, especially from running backs. I'm not even touching the wide receivers because Tyreek Hill, Waddle, going to be a disaster. I don't think the volume's going to be there. Chase Edmonds, guys, 592 yards was his peak rushing yards, and rushing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns last season. Combined, 6, 7, what do you have? 9 touchdowns in 4 years on the ground, okay? And people have 26th on the consensus rankings. I just tell you to fade him completely. Why is he ranked 26th ahead of guys like Dameon Pierce? This is ludicrous. This is why rankings don't work, okay? Let me just pull this up right now. Chase Edmonds is ranked 26th. Where's Dameon Pierce ranked right now? Dameon Pierce is ranked 47th on the consensus rankings, okay? To put that in perspective for you guys, okay? Rashad Penny, oh no, that's not him. Kenneth Walker is 37th, okay? James Robinson, who actually, again, is slated as the starter, should be the starter if healthy, is 43rd. Isaiah Spiller, who's going to get a ton of goal line work, 46th. Again, guys, there's so many other running backs I'm looking at here. Cornell Patterson, 34th, who's slated as a starter. So many guys that are going to be way better than Chase Edmonds, and he's sitting 26th. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Do not trust the Chiefs' rankings. Antonio Gibson, 20. Where's Antonio Gibson? 21. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 29th. Ahead of Dameon Pierce in rankings. This is why rankings don't work. Again, Dameon Pierce, you get him later. He's got that potential to be an RB1. These other guys, they're going to lose their jobs. They suck years to wow, so we're not wowed. Going back to Chase Edmonds, absolutely sucks, okay? Number 7 here. I got 2 more here. I'm going to rip into them. I'm going to rip into them hard because everybody's high on these guys. I don't get it. I don't see it. Can somebody clarify something that I'm not seeing? Because can somebody tell me? Can somebody give it to me right here? Give me the answers. Next guy I'm talking about is DeAndre Swift, okay? DeAndre Swift. Everybody loves this guy, but I'm going to tell you guys he sucks. Finished 23rd last year amongst running backs, 151 attempts, 617 yards, 5 touchdowns on the ground. Now you're saying, well, Joe, you only played 13 games. That's the problem, guys. You only played 13 games. I don't trust that, okay? The guy can't finish a season, play 13 games the past 2 seasons. His only 2 seasons that he started. It hasn't eclipsed 151 attempts on the ground. He had 452 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns last year. Okay, so you could say that he's going to be involved in the receiving game. I don't trust him. I don't, especially sitting as a top 8 running back on Detroit Lions. I do like Goff as an efficient quarterback that's going to get the ball downfield to Amon-Ra St. Brown and maybe some Hawkinson value there. But when you're looking at a guy like DeAndre Swift sitting number 8 on the consensus rankings, he sucks. What has he done? He's done nothing. He sucks, guys. He is a trash player. He's done nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why would I draft him in the early second round, late first round? I won't. He sucks. He's not a workhorse running back. He's not a true workhorse running back. He's a trash player, guys. 151 attempts. If he was good, he would get 250 attempts. He only had 151, and he split it down the middle with Williams there, guys. Williams is not that good, right? So you got to look at that committee there. You got to decide it's on the lines. Yes, they improved their O-line, blah, blah, blah. Swift, I'm not touching. Garbage, trash player, not especially. Give me DeAndre Swift in the 8th or 9th round as my RB4 or 5. I may consider it, although I'm still not interested. DeAndre Swift, I'm completely avoiding. I don't see the hype. Just like I don't see the hype with Austin Eckler, who's coming off a pinnacle season last year. 12 touchdowns on the ground, 8 receiving touchdowns. They brought in Spiller. He's going to be the goal line vulture, and that was an anomaly year for Eckler. He is just lucky because he's a product of a good offense. Not going to happen again this year, okay? Eckler, also not a true workhorse running back. Sucks, okay? And the last guy here, I don't see the hype. I don't see it, guys. I don't. And the guy sitting 33rd on the Consheeps' rankings, finished 31st last year amongst running backs with 115 fantasy points in standard. The guy I'm talking about is Rashad Penny, okay? His PPR numbers last year weren't much better. You're looking at 121 points last year. The guy's trash. 119 attempts, 6.3 yards per carry, 6 touchdowns. Well, Joey did so well down the stretch. Let's look at what he did down the stretch, okay? He had himself a good week 14. He had 137 yards, 8.6 yards per carry, 2 rushing touchdowns against Houston. Then he played the Rams. Okay, what happened here? Okay, he had 11 attempts, 39 yards, and 3.5 yards per carry. Why didn't you perform well against the Rams? That's interesting. Then he had himself 135 yards on the ground in week 16 against Chicago. He had 1 rushing touchdown for 19.5 points, okay? Not bad. Then he had a killer game against Detroit. Okay, you're playing Detroit, buddy. Relax. 2 touchdowns, 32 yards, and he had another good game of 25 points against Arizona. So in his entire career going into his now going to be his 5th season. So 4 seasons. I want to get this through your head so it sinks in. 4 seasons. He couldn't surpass and be the RB1. They brought in Kenneth Walker, who was going to be the RB1, who's far superior talent to Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny did nothing for 4 years but have 4 good games his entire season. Guys, in first 2 seasons of his career, actually in his first 3 seasons, guess how many rushing touchdowns he had? 5 touchdowns on the ground in 3 seasons. Derrick Henry, forget Derrick Henry. Alvin Kamara had more than that in 1 game. Didn't he have like 6 rushing touchdowns in 1 game? Guys, this is ludicrous. The fact that you're saying Rashad Penny is going to be a starter, the guy can't stay healthy. The guy played 14 games year 1, 10 games year 2, 3 games year 3, and 10 games in the last year. So in 2019 and 2020, he played a total of 13 games. 13 games in 2 seasons. Okay? Again, like I don't understand the hype. Like I don't get it. He sucks. He's a trash player. He's not good. Like he has no business even being in the NFL with this type of statistical stat. Like I don't even know. I mean, Seahawks are idiots, but I would not, if a running back came in and brought me 3 seasons, right? 2018, 2019, and 2020, and he had a total of 5 touchdowns, and his peak year was 419 yards on the ground in 3 seasons, he wouldn't have been second year, maybe. I'll give him mid-second year. First year did nothing. I get it. Well, we'll say it's a rookie year. Second year, if I don't see performance, he's gone. He's off my team. Done. Trash. So Rashad Penny, absolutely trash. Draft Kenneth Walker. You'll thank me later. I don't care if Rashad Penny finishes as a top 5 running back. I will have no regret for not drafting him. Any of these guys. If any of these guys finish top 5, I will have 0 regret avoiding him for all the reasons that I stated here. Why? Because they suck. Okay? Do not draft these guys. Avoid these guys. These are players to avoid. These are running backs to avoid. Fantasy football players to avoid. Do not draft. They suck. They're trash. And again, like I said, there's a ton of other trash players. I just wanted to pick on these 8 right now because a lot of people are talking about most of them anyway. All right, guys, subscribe, thumbs up, get 16 rounds if you want real players to draft. Get the solution. Use code TUBE20 and head on over to manscaped.com. Use code SHOWERLINE20. Go treat yourself right now. And of course, Patreon group, patreon.com/FFcounselor. You got some homework to do, guys. I'm out, and don't draft these sucky players.